Don't look at my teeth.
You're good. Hair and makeup.
No, you're good.
Yeah, it's like trying to look like kind of nice when you're in the van. It's like, how should I look today?
How much emphasis do you put on that?
I forget what's appropriate, you know, like sometimes in public I'm like, should I brush my hair? Or like, does anybody care? Like is it okay to pour this out of my van in this parking lot? Or like, oh, I know, I was at a hot spring and I came out of the bathroom. It was like a campground hot spring, and I'm walking out there like naked but with like a towel on. I'm like, is this appropriate?
This is normal.
Are you supposed to put clothes on to get back to the van?
Dusk or dark anyway.
Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 6 of From the Van. It's a podcast from my van, where I have conversations with people who have relationships with residential vehicles. Today's episode features Kara and Chris. They're a couple from Baltimore, pretty new to van life, and as equally interesting as that, they have already nailed down what I perceive as the holy grail for nomadic van life folks, which is that they both have occupations that do not have geographic anchors. They're able to work from the road. So they're full-time on the road, and it was really good to have a conversation with them. I apologize in advance for the noise that Spin is going to make. For the first time, he's not in the van. He's actually outside of the van, and he's super jealous of their super awesome dog, Rocco, who was in the van. So he's intermittently barking during the episode. I apologize. Hopefully it's not too distracting because we had a really good conversation. Once again, you can go to www.fromthevan.com for all things From the Van. The podcast is available as YouTube videos and also on Spotify and iTunes. Recent addition to the website is a blog where I'll be musing about my experience with van life and the policy implications because I'm a nerd like that. So here it is, episode 6, featuring Kara and Chris. Welcome to From the Van. Hope you enjoy it. All right, we're on, dude.
Right.
Introduce yourselves.
Hey, I'm Kara. Where should I look? This one right here?
No, just talk to me. It's fine.
Okay.
Or
sorry.
you can look in the camera if you want to be weird.
No, I don't want to do that. I'm Kara, the.caravan. I'm a High Roof ProMaster just up here. We're at the Van Life app gathering outside of Santa Barbara. And it's been a great weekend. This is where I'll let you introduce yourself.
I'm Chris Schaefer, and I just joined her. Like we met in Baltimore, Maryland. She built the van in Baltimore, Delaware, going back and forth. Then she came out, and I met up with her to join the van full time in Denver. And that was 2 weeks ago.
Cool.
And we drove from there to
So he gets to I built the van, and then he's mooching off all
I'm
the fruits of my labor now.
Yeah, I wish Colette was here because I would feel more appropriate making fun of her. Although I will say that a lot, my girlfriend Colette, a lot of the innovations in the van, she actually helped me think through. I did most of the building and actual labor, but she, like a couple of really clutch things, like the fold up cooktop and all of that. She was super instrumental in doing. So are you guys from Baltimore?
Sort of. He's
I am
traditionally from Baltimore.
I've traveled a lot, but that's been my home base, my base camp.
Okay.
For a while.
I was more all over the place. So born in upstate New York, lived in Tennessee for 8 months, dad's job, then moved to Maryland, then lived in Brazil, and came back to Maryland, then I was in Baltimore for way too long. So any Baltimoreans out there, I'm sure you know what I mean when I say been there way too long. So started rock climbing, and a lot of people had vans at the climbing gym, and I was like, this is intriguing. So next thing you know, I was buying a van and driving it home, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Yeah. So, somebody's
Spin's freaking out. Oh, we should say we have a guest dog here.
Yeah.
Spin's outside chewing on a bully stick, and Rocco, the square-headed pit, is in the van right now. He's a rad dog. How long have you guys been together?
Us, not too long actually.
Okay.
So we were friends for a while last year. We went at the climbing gym
through the summertime,
and then we started, I guess, officially dating in like November.
Okay.
So diving right in.
Yeah. Well, you travel a lot for work.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So ice, like I like traveling for interests of mine. So sailing, ice climbing, snowboarding. We went when she drove out in January. She went to Southwest Colorado. We met there for an ice climbing trip in Ouray, which is right next to Telluride. And so we did this like combination extreme sport thing, and I was in the van with her for 8 days. And Yeah, so tried it out, and then we like a month or 2 months into a relationship, feeling it out, and then this past Valentine's Day, she extended the invitation to go full time, and
Cool.
so moved in the van March 16th,
Right.
and so it's been almost 2 months now.
Okay.
I mean, 2 weeks now,
2 weeks.
and yeah, feeling it out is fantastic, super fun, and we're just
Cool.
kind of like doing our thing.
So
going up the coast.
is rock climbing the main impetus for the van life for you? I know a lot of my really good friends who are in vans. That's sort of the deal. It's like I want to be in Waco, and then I want to be in Kentucky or whatever.
Dirtbagging.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't say it's the main thing. It's more of just my love for traveling, and I've always wanted to come out west. And it's just such a big trip from the East Coast, and you got to take off work, and the plane ride takes a day, like traveling takes a day, and I'm just like, I just want to go around to all these places. So I was like, why not? And then climbing was like an added benefit. So I actually haven't been, well, no, we went to Colorado Springs once to climb, but
Yeah, exactly,
we haven't been climbing a lot because it was too cold in Colorado. And then we're like, we got to get to this van life gathering. But after this, we're going to definitely focus on
Wander
getting
around
some
and
climbing
shit.
spots.
Yeah, so since we started, it's always been like go. Like we haven't really been anywhere for more than 2 nighs, I think.
Yeah,
just because we had to make it here, and then after this, like I'm flying over to Florida for work on Wednesday, and then again I'm flying out from San Francisco for a sailing event that I'm doing, or not an event, a sailing trip I'm doing. So it's always been like there's always like some sense of urgency to get somewhere. So it'd be really nice to kind of have like downtime and really soak up this whole lifestyle that we
Settle
can
in.
like, go whenever we want.
So
wherever.
what's on your bucket list? Like, what are you guys excited to do? I know you said you're going to Santa Barbara, and I just started spitting out a litany of things that you have to do.
Yeah,
while
we
you're
love
there.
that. Yeah, because it's always great to go to a place knowing someone recommended it, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be good. But most of the time,
Yeah.
we've had some opposite experiences. But so bucket list. We got a ton of national parks. I mean, classic stuff like what you would expect. I don't know if there's anything out of the ordinary. You wanna see a cactus that is bigger than you.
Never seen a cactus that's larger than myself.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah.
Within 30 minutes from here. I
Really?
Sure,
Awesome.
yeah.
Cool.
We've
Cool.
seen
Like
some-
with the traditional arms out and everything. I've never seen one in person.
That
It's so
cheesy
funny.
ass
See like the
picture.
lumpy ones and stuff.
I love that that's what you fetishize.
I want the arms. I want the arms. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
want to see the one that I
Yeah.
drew with a face on it. when
Yeah,
I
so I
was
can
11.
stand next to it and get a picture. And then I also want to, it's kind of like a when in Rome kind of thing. So it's rock climbing whenever possible, and then surfing too. Like if we're in a great place to do that, I want to kind of soak that up while we're there.
Yeah, Southern California is a wonderful place to find really easy to surf waves.
Awesome. Yeah.
Although I don't recommend. I lived in LA for 4.5 years, and when I moved there, I sort of quit surfing because
Really?
the thing about LA, the water quality is terrible because there's so many people living on hardscape right around there.
Yeah.
There are only a few good surf spots. And there are a whole bunch of people who want to surf because
Sure.
that's the stereotype in California.
Sure.
So you've got a bazillion people on a few different dirty water surf spots. And
Yeah.
it's just like not worth it. And the reason I moved to a city was to be in a city. You know what I mean? Not to go surfing.
Right. Yeah.
Sure thing.
Do that in plenty of
So,
other
but
places.
yeah, you guys gotta get on it. What's your timeline? Are you gonna be in the van like indefinitely?
Forever.
So far, it's indefinitely.
I
yeah.
feel like it would
until
be
I
a
get
waste
kicked out.
if, yeah, or I
If you
could
get
get that
sick of me or
futon
something.
set up like that
Yeah.
guy had and just move you
Yeah,
over.
I snore, so that could be a deal breaker eventually. I don't know.
That
Okay.
is that's the scoop I want to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're living in a van together, but we're exes.
Yeah.
yeah.
That would be a juicy podcast.
That would be, yeah. I always have
Come on, guys, can you break up for me?
Yeah.
We'll do another one in a
I
couple
always
months.
have enough money in the bank account to get a one-way ticket, so in case I get kicked out, it's
Oh,
like,
your exit strategy is super easy,
Wow,
dude.
I didn't
Low
know that.
stakes.
well, I gotta respect the owner.
Yeah. Oh, the owner. Yeah, he jokes that I'm his landlord. I feel weird when he says that. I'm like,
Paying PB&J's.
he
I
does
wash
the
the
dishes.
dishes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, an ex couple living in a van. There's gotta be someone out there.
Would be awesome.
doing
Well, I mean, and this is a thing that I've really seen in California as a like super traditional like Southern community for my entire childhood. There's so many unhappy people who stay in relationships because that's what you do when you don't get a divorce. And so if people do get a divorce, there's like all this acrimony. But there are, I know that some people here, and I don't want to name them on the podcast, but I know that some people here, and they probably wouldn't mind, but I don't know them that well. Their parents are here, and they're not together anymore, but they still interact with each other. Like
Sure.
I have really good friends whose parents are divorced, and they both have like life partners, and they still
I know
like,
the same.
Like hang
yeah.
out.
congregate,
sometimes.
hang
Yeah.
out. They have dinner
That's
together.
great.
Yeah,
I
They're
wonder-
civil,
Stuff.
you know?
It's like,
Yeah.
At some point, if you have kids, you're just like, we're gonna.
you got to do it.
Yeah, just
They got it
let's
for the
make the
kids,
best
you
of
know?
this. Yeah.
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 Sure thing. Yeah, but yeah, it's interesting. So,
Yeah.
So-
I don't think the van life has really taken a toll on our relationship.
not at all. I
Yet.
think
Yeah.
we've been really comfortable. Like, we got comfortable with each other really quickly. Like,
You have to.
I'm
When you're
used to.
peeing in an Nalgene bottle.
Yeah, like
real
I'm
comfortable.
like I did a sail from Annapolis to Bermuda in like 8 days at sea, 7 or 8 days at sea with 6 other guys, and there's like no privacy, so you're just,
Yeah.
So it's kind of like van lifing so far reminds me a lot of sailing, but on land.
Uh-huh.
And instead of sailing, if you're in the Gulf Stream like we were, you can't just get off the boat or pull over if
Right.
you're like, oh my gosh, I need to get out.
Right.
But with the van, you can like go hiking, and like if she needs alone time with the dog, she can go hiking if she wants to, and do that kind of stuff. So it's really, really like a big sense of freedom, which
Right.
is great.
Yeah,
So,
people say like it's hard to get alone time, which, like, if you're driving somewhere, like you're on a road trip, like, that could make sense. But it's not that hard. I mean, you park somewhere, like I can go to a cafe and work, or you could go get a beer, or take
Yeah.
Rocco for a walk, or we're in a national park campsite. We can go our separate
Yeah.
ways if we want to. It's really not. It's just when you're in the space, like maybe if you're stealth camping in the city, it's probably harder because you want to stay in there and not
Yeah.
like be obvious. So
Yeah.
that makes sense, but it's not bad so far. I mean, I'm sure there's couples out there that are probably like rolling their eyes, like, oh, they've only been in it
It's
for a
only
couple
been-
weeks.
yeah,
It's all
yeah.
fun and
the
games
honeymoon
now.
phase, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, well, let's just keep it positive and we'll see
Yeah,
how it goes.
just keep on trucking, and I've never been to Oregon or Washington, so
Oh
maybe
yeah,
go up that
bucket
way
list
and
there. Mhm.
Yeah.
check that out. I really like Squamish and BC, so
Yeah,
Who knows?
Canada's on the bucket list for sure.
once
We
it
didn't
gets
say
warmer,
that.
and
Love to do drive down to Patagonia. Or even just into South America, not necessarily all the way down there.
the whole 180 degrees south kind of idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Sailing.
I'd like to
combined or
do it
something.
with other vans, maybe. I don't know yet.
That
but-
seems. I have some friends who have gone down to Baja for like the last several months or whatever, and I think they're caravanning. It's like
Yeah.
several vans and stuff, and that just seems like, from a community like socialization perspective, it would be better.
Yeah.
Because I know that a bunch of people have said that, like, especially boondocking and stuff, you feel isolated after a while, and your people are like constantly leaving each other and stuff, and so it's probably good to travel in a crowd.
I
And from a
wonder-
safety perspective.
yeah. I wonder
Exactly.
what it's. I don't know what it's like. That Baja would be a good starter trip before I plan to go all the way down there. But
Dip our toes.
The
Yeah.
great news about Baja is that, and my buddy was telling me, you have to buy Mexican insurance for your car.
yeah,
And it's kind of expensive if you do it on a daily basis. It's like $30. But I think you can
Okay.
get $30 for the day, but it's only like a $70 or $100 for the entire year.
Oh,
oh,
And so that's what you
a
do,
no-brainer.
But I go down to Baja. I've done video projects down there and surfed down there a lot. And it's like a really easy deal to like just go over there and see how it feels.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I've
yeah.
never had any trouble there aside from
Awesome.
some flat tires.
But people
and stuff.
see like American plates and they're like, "Ooh, like, or is it?"
I
not
don't
like
think
that?
so, you know? I mean, I think that by and large, like all of that crazy cartel shit that you hear that's happening is not happening
sensationalized almost. Or
as
blown
much
up.
as the media loves taking like exquisite, dangerous stuff, and like you're way more. I hope this doesn't happen, but you're way more likely to crash your van. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
In
It's like-
just any old wear. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
yeah, it's like Baltimore. People just hear it and they're like, "Oh, Baltimore."
Yeah.
From Baltimore. I'm like, it's not that bad.
There are
It's
pockets, just
fine.
like any city.
Uh-huh.
Baltimore has. It's a smaller city, so it's like a bit more. Like you could go 2 blocks in one direction, it'll be completely different.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. What? Okay, so you're in the honeymoon phase. 2 weeks is pretty short. But are there things that outside of each other that irritate you about the van, or like challenges that you've
Oh, the
had
van.
that you've had to like contend with and work around? You said the Nalgene bottle for peeing. I use an orange juice bottle.
Yeah. No, that's
That's
been
pretty
That's
standard.
been
That's
great.
not- that's not-
I'm feeling that. Like, I
That's
don't
not
want a
bad at all.
toilet. Yeah, gosh, I don't know. Arranging things. We have this ritual, or it's like I'm sure every person has this, where you move stuff from the chairs and wherever you're sitting to the bed.
Yeah, that's my
in the
bundle of
morning.
sheets right
Yep,
there.
and then at night you move it back.
you move it. Yeah.
Because it's so easy to let it turn into a junk show. 'Cause you just like come and you're like, here's my coat and the dog leash and this, and then you turn around and you're like, oh shit, like this is a mess. But it's quick to clean up too.
Right.
Just like finding everything has a spot for it, and you need to remember to put it there, or it just turns into crazy. And fitting everything in the fridge too. We like to shop at Trader Joe's and spend like $200 there, and then we have so much stuff.
When in a brick and mortar house, like I'm a big fan of Costco and like overbuying stuff and using it for the next 7 months.
Yeah.
You can't do that shit in here.
Especially in the minivan.
What sort of fridge do you have?
We have an isotherm drawer 65, if I remember
It's nice.
correctly.
65, that's big.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Mine's
it's got
28.
Oh, okay. That's the
tiny.
awesome kilo guy. Yeah.
Cool.
Micro.
Yeah, definitely can't go to Costco with that. But I love those. Those are super efficient.
Yeah.
It's tough. But yeah, it's a drawer one, and then I love the freezer compartment because it's much bigger.
I don't have that.
Yeah, because I love freezing like some like chicken sausages or some
Yeah.
fruit for smoothies or whatever. But Trader Joe's has been the best, and they're kind of few and far between. Somewhat
In the middle of the country.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're not always going to find it like in, I don't even know if they have one in Santa Barbara. They probably do.
Definitely.
They do?
Yeah.
Okay. But like if you're traveling out here, like you're not going to find one until you're in the next major city. So we like load up on stuff. So the space issue, of course, but in terms of clothes and like storing gear, like that's been great as long as you put it where it goes.
What's your
It's fine.
layout like? I haven't seen your van yet.
Oh yeah, that's right. You should come back to this. So the two front seats have swivels on them, and then where I'm sitting, there's a table that actually hinges down.
Rad.
But I've left it up the whole time, and he sleeps under it with his bed. That's probably why I leave it up. And then there's a little like booth, like bench, a couch sort of, like
like a
love
bench
seat sort of?
Yeah.
and that faces a table, so you can sit across from each other.
So you turn around, you can
Will it
dinner
seat
together.
two people? This one?
No,
that's up
just
here?
one.
Okay.
Uncomfortably, it could. Yeah,
You can see one large person. It's pretty wide.
Yeah.
And then behind that, there's floor to ceiling. There's the refrigerator. There's 3 drawers, and then there's the microwave at the top. And that's about like 21 inches wide. And then the bed starts, and it's a queen size with 7 inches cut off.
Okay.
Didn't use the bread knife. We got a 10-inch jigsaw blade.
Okay.
Because I already had the jigsaw, and it was cheaper than buying the bread knife. So I'm like, all right, that'll work. And it was amazing.
I borrowed a bread knife.
Yeah, I know. It's like you're using it
Break
once,
even.
you don't want to keep it. You're like, what a waste. Yeah. And then, so there's the bed with.
And you're sleeping laterally, right? Sideways?
Yeah, like turned a little
across
bit
the
because
van?
we're
We're
both
kind of diagonal,
tallish.
actually. Yeah. We've tried that way. We've tried this way with our feet hanging off, and we've kind of found that diagonally is the best.
Yeah, I've been
now,
sleeping good like that. There's overhead cabinets on both sides, and then under the bed there's 4 drawers that are like the dresser for clothes.
Okay.
And then on the other side, there's the sink, and the propane cooktop is like where the sliding door is, and there's propane, gray water, and then the water tank's on the floor.
How much water do you have?
And that's pretty much it. We have a 21-gallon tank. It's a long, skinny tank for the floor, and just 5-gallon gray water tank to empty. So
That's one of the big luxuries. The 2 things that you have that I don't, that I'd love to have, is more water, because we're 3.5 gallons, so we're filling up every
all the
other
time.
day.
Sure.
And then sleeping this way would just allow me to get out and like work while Colette's still sleeping.
Yeah, that's interesting. So
That is,
we're in the bed when we're in the bed.
yeah, is
It's
there
like,
any way though
when this
to
thing
like?
folds out? Well, I have like
sit
worked
there.
late night, like, and that thing actually won't stay swiveled while the bed's out, right? Because it interferes with it.
Sure.
But I can turn it 90 degrees, and I can like hang out there and
work
work
outside.
because that giant bulk of sheets is on the bed when we're sleeping.
I like
can
the
see that
cockpit
working
here
out.
though.
Yeah,
This is
I
like
do.
nice and clean and like modern looking.
Yeah.
Dog poop bag holders. It's clutch.
And the spicy
The small
mustard.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the essentials.
Yeah, dog food bags and spicy mustard. What else do you need in the van life? You keep happiness. Oh man. But
Is there anything you wish you had in the van that you don't have in the van? What would you change?
what?
The instant pot?
that
Oh,
is-
Instant
that
Pot.
is
That's
awesome.
gonna change.
That's a game
As soon as I
changer.
get that Bed Bath Me Out
Uh-huh.
coupon.
That's awesome.
I don't. Not really. Like, I did look at what is his name again? We have matching roof decks basically. I can't remember.
Oh, you
I
have a
was
roof
giving them
deck?
a shout out.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like two yoga mats fit side by side.
No shit, it's that big.
I have like
I gotta go up
200
there.
hours, so we could like go up there whenever we want to do like a little sequence and open hips or whatever.
Yeah, which
Killer.
is
Solar
much
panels in front of
needed.
that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I would love to sleep up there.
Yeah, we were
Stars.
thinking
Take the
about
mattress out and like put it up
Yeah.
on top and
If we're
sleep up
staying
there.
somewhere for a long time, we should totally make the move
100%.
for the mattress.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't want to sleep on my sleeping pad when I know the mattress is right there.
Sure.
Take
Yeah.
that thing up
Yeah,
there.
we toyed with staying in a tent when we were camping the other week, and they're like,
Uh-huh.
"Hey, we got the fucking living room with us."
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, just open the doors if you want that
But
experience.
one thing that we're taking advantage of is definitely like the stars out here. Like on the East Coast, being close to the city, it's like, you know, light pollution. So it's like every single time. Like we drove from Denver, you know, through Utah. We stopped in Moab, kept on going.
Killer.
Arizona, Nevada, you know, came down here in is it Kiyama? Is it
No,
pronounced?
Kuyama.
New Kiyama.
Kuyama,
Just
yeah.
been taking advantage of the night sky each night.
Yeah.
It's like super clear. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I got into
Loving that.
night photography a little bit. I've always wanted to do that. It's one
Yeah.
thing. Like, what are you going to take a picture of at night in Baltimore? Christ.
Uh-huh.
Probably some interesting things, actually. But
Are you just taking pictures of stars? Is that what
yeah,
you're talking
stars.
about?
The van has roof deck lights, so
Uh-huh.
it creates a nice foreground.
Oh, cool.
So like playing with, you know, like the ISO and learning all that stuff is really fun. Got a tripod, so it's great. I've been able to like tap into some of the passions that I haven't had time to do back in my traditional life, which feels like ages ago, and like I was a different person.
Yeah.
So. It's weird to think back, like I was in an office 5 days a week. Like it's just insane to think that I was doing that and making that my normal life.
Yeah.
So
It's a very popular thing to do.
Yeah.
And it's like something that I've been avoiding like the plague for years and years and years, even way before this whole van thing.
the office life, you mean?
Yeah, and
yeah.
it's like now I'm sort of like, I could do that, but I really am gonna continue to like run away from it. I think,
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what I
You can
mean?
always. That's the other thing. You can always go back because people are like, "Oh,
Sure
like, what if
thing,
you
yeah.
don't like the van life?" I'm like, "Well, I can literally go anywhere, and then
Uh-huh.
I can park for a while, check out a place, and if I like it, I could settle down." It's
Yeah.
like the best gateway to finding a place to settle down if
Exactly.
you want to. So it's
Right.
actually like easier.
Yeah, that's a good
versus,
point.
Like,
I hadn't
moving.
thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, re-entry is really easy, especially when it's not your van.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, he can
I
just
am
hop off
so
the train
fortunate.
anytime.
So I'm,
You got a good parachute on, buddy.
Yeah, really got that planned out there. Set
it's
yourself up for success.
no, it's been fantastic. But yeah.
I'm
It's been
still trying to think if
fantastic.
there's anything else that I want in the van, but I honestly, like, I don't want to say it's perfect, but like,
He's
it's-
happy.
Yeah,
So
I'm
did
happy.
you build the whole thing yourself?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Where's your background? Like, why were you able to do that? You just sort of feeling it out and.
Yeah, I shouldn't say the whole thing. Disclaimer: my dad was spearheading the cabinetry
Okay.
and the drawers for me because that is just crazy to me. Like lining up all the angles. The drawer slides have to be perfect. Like where you drill the holes for the drawer slides, and then the cabinets is just a lot. So he did a really nice job in those, and I was really grateful to have a contractor, like I guess you could call him a carpenter for
cool.
a dad. So.
Yeah.
And my mom helped me with like some things like some fabric stuff with like the window shades, so that
Okay.
was nice. But the base of it, I was literally just me like in my gravel driveway, like trying like in the sweltering heat of Baltimore in August, like putting insulation in and just like dying. I had a few friends with vans that gave me some assistance with the electrical too, which was cool. But the planning, it's not even really doing it. It's like the figuring out what you're going to do. Like the electrical system was just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And then your layout and like, this is the biggest thing. It's like, should I do this first? Some
Right.
people put the wall paneling after all their cabinets are in because you only need to do like this
Yeah.
area. And then like the flooring I did first. And then you cover up like 60% of the flooring with stuff, like your
Right.
bed and your structures and stuff, and I'm like, I just paid for this flooring and now it's like half of it's covered
Yeah.
up. So yeah, like figuring out the order. But yeah, no, I just looked at like people's layouts on social media and was like, oh, I like this part about this one and this part about this one, and kind of like made my own. And then watching a lot of YouTube videos for the technical stuff, like the electrical and like mostly the electrical. I probably spent like a total of like, I don't know, like 7 days, like 7 times 24, whatever that is, like just researching electrical.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
We live in a fascinating time. I remember, like, 1987. I was 7 years old, and my parents, the World Book Encyclopedia man came by, and we had to have a big ass shelf to put that on.
Yeah.
And now on your phone, you can Google like the most obscure shit and learn how to do it right now.
It's incredible.
It's crazy, and that enables the same sort of concept. The internet, the World Wide Web, enables you to work from your van.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah, I'm a web developer,
Okay.
so I build websites, usually design them as well, design and build websites for small businesses. I work for a small Baltimore-based company, and he lets me work whenever and wherever I want.
That's so good.
Which is exactly what I want. So
Yeah.
it's great.
Very cool. And you write?
Yeah, I'm a what's called a copywriter, and so I work for a company in Baltimore, a big publishing company in Mount Vernon neighborhood there, and so I've been doing that for about 7 years. But I started at a new affiliate last March, and I called I have a meeting, a one-on-one each year with my publisher. I was like, hey, like, I've been in Baltimore for 31 years now. What do you think if I like do this, but because he's based in Florida, so it's like, if I work from home from a different state, does that even matter? Because it's
You
like,
might not even know if you hadn't had the conversation
well,
with him, right?
he was so chill about it. He was saying like you could move to Alaska tomorrow if you wanted to. So
That's
he just
great.
gave me this whole freedom, and I was like, whoa, what do I do now? It's like I have all these options at that point. And then this is developed, and then here we are,
Yeah,
California.
That's great.
Yeah.
So it's been fantastic. So I'm working full time. I'm making it work, and I'm in the middle of a big project right now, which is probably the most busy that I'll ever be while doing this whole thing. So if I can do this now, which I am controlling, I can feel like I can do anything.
Great. And the traveling for sailing, is that work too, or is it just like a passion thing?
Passion thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just flying over to the Virgin Islands to help bring a boat back. This guy who lives in Maryland wants his boat taken back because he stores it down there in the wintertime. So I'm just going from the Virgin Islands to Puerto Rico to Dominican Republic, and then we're dropping the boat off in Turks and Caicos in the Bahamas, where someone else will take it up the Gulf Stream up to Maryland and finish the delivery.
Right.
So that's just going to be like a week-long trip that I'm doing, like the first leg.
Great.
So-
Well, is there anything you guys want to plug? I think or anything else we
Your
need to talk about? Are there any pressing
Instagram
issues?
thing or whatever, or any
Pressing issues.
Are there pressing issues that are bothering you on your
mean,
mind right now?
I think the biggest thing for us so far has been navigating like sleeping spots. So like sometimes we don't know until we get there.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's we find things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very interested in the community discussion. Well, the end of it that I heard here, the community discussion and what you were talking about. Like I had heard that it was van life or sleeping in your car was legalized in San Diego, but I guess I didn't realize that it was kind of being like overturned now. Because we were excited to get there and just be able to like
San Diego,
wherever
yeah.
like kind of park and
I don't really know how it's going to go,
Yeah.
but I will say that my impression of I was paranoid about parking,
Yeah.
and you have a nice newish van, like you're gonna have no trouble.
Really?
I think. Have you guys been knocked on yet? At
So
all?
we parked on the side of like a mountain road in Colorado Springs, and somebody like had driven by and called the sheriff and was like, "There's people with out-of-state plates like in vans," but that doesn't necessarily like there's no crime being committed.
Right.
Like so the sheriff came. We actually slept through it, but our friends in the
Yeah.
ambulance, the big red ambulance,
Yeah.
were with us, and they dealt with it. And the sheriff was like, "Yeah, somebody called in out-of-state plates." And they're like, yep, we both have us. He's like, all right, we'll see you later.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, welcome
yeah,
to
we're
the
like,
area.
thanks for waking us up. Like, what was that about? I guess he
Yeah.
had to like respond to the calls or whatever. But
Yeah.
and then in Colorado, we were also with the ambulance too, parked outside of a climbing gym, and I think we had just like stayed too long in one spot. And they didn't wake us up. They came during the day when we were still there, and we're like, I also missed that because I was walking him. So again,
Right.
our friends had to deal with it, but they were just like, yeah, you can't camp here, you gotta move. So we've never had like somebody like banging on the window at night.
And I don't think it'll ever be that case. I think it's like, oh my gosh, will this happen? Like the unknown of it.
I'm
It's the
sure
scary
it'll
part.
happen at some point.
I don't know if, I mean, I think we'll find a spot that's like, maybe they'll ask us to move, but I think if you don't answer, it looks like a parked car.
Yeah.
So as long as you're mixed in with other people, I don't know if it's going to be like, unless you're like in and out throughout the night like
Right.
5 times,
Yeah.
make
We're
it
gonna be
obvious.
stealth,
but,
though.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I think we can really make it, I think it'll be easier than maybe we're thinking.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we'll see.
I haven't had any trouble, but again, my van's like
No one would
unnecessarily
even-
invisible.
No,
It's going to be super
necessary.
interesting to see what happens in San Diego because the court is looking at it as an equity issue, and I don't know. The reason that they put the temporary restriction on enforcement is because of the vagueness of the law that says living in a vehicle, and so
What
like
does that mean?
depending on who asks me. If you ask me if I live in my van, I'd be like, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
But if somebody's being antagonistic towards me and
Sure.
asks me if I'm living in my van, I'm like, well, I've been alive every time I've been in my van.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
are you living in your car?
Yeah, well,
you know,
we're
when
all
you drive
living.
it to
Yeah,
work,
yeah,
you're alive.
yeah,
We
yeah.
always joke about that with sleeping in your vehicle because
Yeah.
we're like, they could come at 3 a.m. and I could open the door and be like, I'm working. Like,
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
computer.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do? Like, I can't park here and like work, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And then there's seeing road signs on the way out here, and they're like, if you're fatigued, pull over and sleep and stuff. I'm like, hey, there's
But
a
don't.
Right.
If
Oh,
you're,
well, yeah, exactly.
There he is.
Here's Rocco.
Coming up at the end.
Rocco.
Hey,
This is Rocco,
There you
the
go,
best
bud.
man dog
Yeah.
ever.
He's so sweet.
He's
And
adjusted
He's a
so
sweetheart.
well.
Spin is super jealous.
He
Yeah.
keeps people away from the van sometimes,
Yeah.
which can be nice, but
He sits so funny. Just looks at you. He's just a sweetheart.
yeah.
He's such a sweetie.
Yeah, but people always there's always like asking about like leaving the dog in the van and stuff. So maybe I could talk about
Oh.
that. We do leave him in here or in our van.
But you're insulated.
sometimes. But we're insulated. We have insulated window shades. I have a remote temperature monitor.
Oh,
so
wow.
As long as I'm in service, I can see that. So I don't leave him in there when I'm out of service.
Right.
So I can monitor the temperature. I would never like leave him and then like drive 4 hours or go 5 hours
Yeah,
somewhere like
yeah.
that with someone else. But
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, and he does fine. He goes to the back if he gets because he does like to sit in the sun and he'll be like in the
Yeah.
front seat and he like won't go to the shade. But if he does get hot, he goes back to the shade under the little table area.
Yeah.
And he does just fine. I think he
That's
likes
good.
his sleeping time too because I think about it like. I used to go to work 9 to 5 or like 8 to 6 with driving time
Right.
and all he would do would be sleep all
Yeah.
day and now he's stimulated all day
Right,
every day with
right.
me in the van so I think he likes to take some snooze time when I'm out doing stuff.
Spin loves being in the van too, as you can hear.
Yeah, let
Yeah,
me in
for
there.
sure.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
roof vent fan which you have too is key. Like
Yeah.
keeping the windows cracked. It's like such a nice cross breeze.
Yeah.
We got those little window fairings recently
Oh,
so that
sure.
we can leave the windows cracked and just
Even
have
if
this
it's
on
raining
exhaust.
and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Even when it's
Yeah,
raining.
those are great.
And it's
Yeah.
cool because I'm not a big enough van to need 2 fans. You know,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah,
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah, that would actually a second fan would have been nice. You
Yeah.
asked about having something in it, and but it's just more power draw too.
Mhm.
So
Right.
anyway, thanks
Well,
for chatting.
yeah. Thanks for
Yeah.
coming in here. It's good to meet you, Rocco. You're a real sweetheart.
Good boy.
All right, what's your Instagram again?
It's the.caravan, but caravan with a K. So.
It's so punny.
I know. I was like, is this cheesy? I was like a little
Yeah.
bit, but I don't care.
That's fine.
So,
That's
yeah,
fine. We're
yeah.
old enough to make corny jokes.
Yeah, and appreciate it. So yeah, it's good.
You guys
Yeah.
have a good trip. I look forward to following you on the gram. I love
Yeah.
watching people's progress.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Through.
Shafe SCHAEF Shafe Escapes, but it's like I'm mostly with her, so it's like I put that on the
Just
side.
let me,
pretty much.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
doing
big
her thing.
milestone though, because it's coast to coast. Drove from Delaware,
Yeah.
Atlantic Ocean, and then today is going to be the official Pacific
Oh,
Ocean.
you get to put your toes in the sand.
Yeah, it's going to be
Yeah.
good. It's been,
Can't wait to do that someday though. I only hopped in since Denver, so I've done half the last leg.
yeah. I don't want to drive back though.
Yeah.
California's hard, man. You move
got
out here
everything.
and it just because I grew up in the swamp in South Carolina and it's always too hot or too cold for me now when I go there.
Yeah.
Because I live in a perfect climate. I'm just
Mhm.
completely
The
spoiled.
humidity is what got me.
Oh,
like
Yeah,
July,
at night.
August.
You can't sleep at night. It's
Heavy,
too much.
sticky.
Yeah.
Oh, Rocco's about to sleep now.
Yeah, he has had a long
Yeah.
weekend. Yeah.
You guys
Yeah.
have to come back on the podcast when
yeah.
you break up.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
You're living in the van together.
Leave
Yeah.
enough money to get to you.
I'll make sure he doesn't buy his return ticket out for a little while, and then we can, build up the drama.
Yeah.
We can
yeah.
do like a
It'll
Jerry
just
So
be
Springer
this would be like a
Yeah,
Seinfeld
I'll have to
episode.
sit between you guys and like hold you
like,
apart and
yeah.
stuff.
We're
Yeah.
civil.
I'll bust out the machete.
Cool.
that
No,
we
I
have.
Yeah,
actually-
seriously.
I hope that doesn't
Man,
happen.
no, I
No,
don't
I don't.
anticipate that at all.
Me either.
All right, we did it. That was episode 6 of From the Van, Kara and Chris. I tell you, it's been a couple of weeks since I recorded this episode, And I've really enjoyed watching these guys traveling around. They're having a really good time, it seems. I particularly always like pictures of people's dogs. So go to the.caravan and follow them on Instagram. And also go subscribe and like on iTunes and YouTube and, whatever that social media thing is. You can find all that stuff again at FromTheVan.com. Really appreciate you if you've stuck around this long, and we will see you next Tuesday with another episode of From the Van.